one thing that I think is kind of an important topic because of the time period that we're living in right now is the importance of stealth and secrecy. And this is a very complex message, right? It is not an easy thing to discuss. It's not like a single point or maybe 2 or 3 points, because we can approach it from many different avenues, whether it's the physical realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm, the spiritual realm, all these different things. So it is kind of a deep topic. I truly believe we are drowning in knowledge and we're starving for wisdom. That's the time frame that we're living in. We live in an era where everyone has all these damn answers on their smartphone. I don't know where mine is right now. There's one right here, right? And we can know the temperature, the day, and whatever's going on another country, and how so-and-so did this or so-and-so did that, and all these kind of things, right? And we have all this knowledge, but we don't have much wisdom, and as a people. And to me, that's why we're suffering so much. The reason that the idea of stealth and secrecy is so important because of the idea of knowledge and wisdom. And you have to understand the definitions. Knowledge is knowing something. Knowledge is vast. Everybody can buy 100 books on Ninjutsu. They can buy the Bansen Shukai, the Ninpiden, the Shonenki, Book of Five Rings, Sagakure, Art of War, blah, 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 all these different scrolls, all these different books written by all these different masters and all this kind of stuff, right? So we have all this knowledge so readily available, even just in Ninjutsu. And that can be with anything, whether it's Ninjutsu or Karate or kickboxing or Aikido or whatever martial art that you're studying, right? Information, knowledge itself is vast. Wisdom is understanding and how to apply, and a deeper understanding of that knowledge, right? It's like, do you really want to take advice from someone who's never been a parent on how to parent? Most people say no. If you have someone that read the book on how to do a heart surgery, but he's never performed a heart surgery, do you want him to be cutting open your heart? No. He may know the book, but there ain't no wisdom that goes along with that knowledge. So when I say we live in a time where we are drowning in knowledge and starving for wisdom, I mean that. All of that leads us into this idea of the importance of stealth and secrecy. Because knowledge is so readily available. Because there's so much out there. We have to make sure that we preserve certain things that we don't put out there, and only for the people, the small handful of people that do show up, that want to train at these camps, get that information. You guys all come to the camps, you guys see my YouTube channel, and you're like, yep, 3 or 4 videos a week, or whatever it is, 2 or 3 videos a week, bang, 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 bang. But you guys get a much different type of lesson, much different techniques that are never going on YouTube. You guys know that. The world don't know that. They only know what I give them. But we have to do that because we have to preserve that idea of stealth and secrecy, because we don't want everyone knowing what we're doing. We don't want everyone knowing what it is and why we do it and how we do it and when we do it and all these different things. Because then, if the people that you have to combat already know the techniques that you're going to do, well then, it doesn't work as well, does it? So we can't put all of those things out there, because then that takes away from the validity or the application for you guys to be able to use it in case you need it. We have the online dojo, and we always every year have a handful of people show up to the camps and blah, blah, blah. Wish it was more. I wish they would, take the drive and take the Musha Shugyo to come in and experience a little bit more than what they do. But nonetheless, we still have a few that come. The stealth aspect is also not just, we got stealth and secrecy. We talked about secrecy and why we want to keep things secret to a certain degree. The stealth thing happens from a variety of different reasons. A lot of times people think, well, I don't want the government knowing what I'm doing, so I don't do this. I don't do social media, or I don't have a Twitter, or I don't have a cell phone, or whatever all that is, right? Well, let's just cut the shit. The government knows what you're doing. They know what you're doing. You're not getting away from it. If you have a social security number, and you have a job, you're paying your taxes, they know what you're doing. So this idea of them not knowing is ridiculous, right? If you truly wanted to make a problem, we talked about this earlier this last week, you would want to flutter the internet with as much shit as you can so that gives them more they have to go through if you ever had to find you. It's kind of like if you had to get the fuck out of Dodge and someone's tracking you. Well, if someone's tracking you, you know that you have to understand counter-tracking techniques. You have to do things to throw them off to follow you so that you can't be caught. Okay. Well, if you have social media and you're making a post every day on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and whatever, right? The more that they have to go through to figure out if you said anything stupid, the longer you have as a head start for them to get you. Right? But if you don't post anything on there, well, then they don't have to look at it. Then just go to the next thing. Next thing is, you can always like, you know that thing where you can make your posts like 3 days in advance. I'm going to schedule your post. You can make posts, already have 3 or 4 scheduled posts in advance that are your normal posts. And they're already 3 or 4 days in advance. Well, no one thinks you're gone. And then they can't report you until it's 48 hours anyway. So you have opportunities, if you need to be able to use social media and things of that nature towards your advantage if you were going to escape. Now, the downside is if you have social media and you got all that shit, then the people that are close to you see it. And if you don't want the people that, like your family is the example, you don't want your family in the damn business, well then that's a problem. You know, there's visible. So, that's what I mean by it is complicated. Stealth is much different for everybody. Secrecy is much different for everybody. What one person says wants to be secret, another person don't think it's a big deal. But we have these small groups of people all over the world that follow everything I do. You know what I mean? And I have a much, much more bigger following outside of the United States than I do inside the United States. You know? And I would openly admit that in any group. I know where the majority of the book sales go, the majority of the DVDs and online dojo, and right, I mean, this is what it is. You know, all these little groups that I have that follow everything that I do and really follow me and want to know everything and want to be involved. There still has to be some sort of like way to keep things in a stealth method to where the world doesn't know what we're doing. You have to keep things in a secret format to where the world doesn't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And then even with people in the room itself. You know, because the blade with everything is like that blade. If you keep everything secret and stealthy, if you want to use that as the word, I guess, and no one knows about anything, then no one's going to ask if you need help. So you're not going to get help in that situation. However, if everyone knows what's going on, then you also have a problem. Ninjutsu is the same way. You know, the knowledge and wisdom thing, it's like I've been studying and teaching for all this time. You guys have seen, all of you have easily, we can go to the book and I can show all of you that you guys have all seen easily 100 plus people come and go. In here training. 100 plus people. Well, how do we keep it in a way that doesn't distract from what you guys are doing or the most dedicated people doing and still catapult ourselves to be able to attain a little bit of excellence in what it is that we're training for, right? And again, you got these people that are on the internet too. They believe that if I read a book, I know the answer. Well, do you know how many people have read something they don't know what the fuck they read? You know how many people read the Bible and act like an asshole? You know what I'm saying? Isn't that something? Just because you read something doesn't necessarily know something. You can know something from reading something, but then that doesn't mean that you're wise. And I think that the idea behind the stealth camp, like in its initial, like we talk about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, in its initial draw, it's stealth. We're going to do stealth walking, we're going to do camouflage, we're going to hide in shadows, and we are, I'll tell you now, we're going to go do it. That's what we do, right? That's why we're all dressed like we are. But that word stealth needs to have more flavor to it than just the physical realm, because we're better than that. How do we apply those techniques mentally? How do we apply those techniques emotionally? And how do we apply those techniques spiritually? Right? And how do you have counter techniques to where people don't do those techniques on you? Right? So counter espionage, counter intelligence. I think that's kind of important.